I was down to my last $20 bill, facing eviction, when I gave it to a freezing homeless man. Just 6 hours later, a black limousine pulled up to my driveway. The rain was relentless that Tuesday evening, hitting the cracked glass of my small apartment window with a steady, punishing rhythm. I sat at my wobbly kitchen table, staring down at three things: a red final eviction notice, an empty refrigerator, and a single, crisp $20 bill. That bill was, quite literally, all the money I had left to my name after losing my job 2 months prior. My stomach was twisted in knots, and the quiet in the room was deafening. I knew I needed to buy at least some loaves of bread or basic groceries to stretch out the next few days. So I grabbed my worn jacket, tucked the 20 deep into my pocket, and stepped out into the freezing storm. The wind cut right through my thin coat as I walked down the dimly lit street toward the local corner store. That's when I saw him, sitting near the entrance, curled up on a soaking wet piece of cardboard. He was an elderly man, shivering uncontrollably, clutching an empty paper coffee cup with hands that were turned completely red from the bitter cold. People kept walking past him, deliberately looking away or stepping into the street just to avoid eye contact. I stopped in my tracks. I looked at the man, then felt the smooth paper of the last $20 bill in my pocket. I was in deep trouble myself, but looking at him, I realized he might not even survive the night in this weather. I walked over, knelt down beside him, and slipped the bill into his freezing hands, telling him to go inside the diner across the street and get himself something hot to eat and drink. He looked up at me with pale blue eyes that held a strange, calm intensity. He didn't scream or cry. He just smiled softly and whispered, "Son, you have no idea what you just did." I forced a small smile back, told him to stay safe, and walked back to my apartment with completely empty hands and a numb heart. I made a cup of tap water, sat on the edge of my bed, and wondered how I was going to tell my landlord the next morning that I couldn't pay rent. Around 11 at night, the quiet of the neighborhood was broken by the quiet purr of a heavy engine idling outside. A soft beam of light filtered through my cheap window blinds, turning the dark living room into a bright stage. I walked over to the window and peeked through the slats. Parked right in front of my rundown, leaking apartment complex was a sleek, jet black stretch limousine. The chrome handles gleamed under the streetlights, looking completely out of place in our forgotten part of town. Before I could even process what was happening, 3 sharp, deliberate knocks echoed at my front door. My heart dropped straight into my stomach. I hesitated, grabbed an old baseball bat from behind the door, and slowly pulled it open. Standing on my porch was a tall man in an impeccably tailored navy suit, holding a leather briefcase. Right behind him, stepping out from the shadow of the porch, was the same old man I had helped hours ago. But he wasn't shivering anymore, and he was wearing a sharp trench coat that looked like it cost more than my entire apartment building. The elder man smiled, stepping forward with that same quiet warmth. He introduced himself as Arthur Pendleton. He explained that he was the founder of one of the largest private investment firms in the country, but more importantly, a man who had lost his faith in humanity after years of dealing with greedy relatives and corporate betrayals. Arthur told me that every year on the anniversary of his late wife's passing, he dressed in rags and sat on the streets of different cities, testing the hearts of ordinary people. He wanted to see if genuine, unselfish kindness still existed in a world that felt increasingly selfish and cold. Over 12 hours of sitting in the freezing rain, hundreds of wealthy executives, well-dressed shoppers, and busy commuters had ignored him or treated him like dirt. I was the only person who had stopped, looked him in the eyes, and sacrificed everything I had left just to keep him warm. Arthur's attorney opened the leather briefcase right there on my small kitchen table, pulling out a thick set of legal documents. Arthur leaned in and explained that he had no heirs who cared about his legacy, only his wealth. He was looking for someone with a true, honest heart to manage his philanthropic foundation, a trust dedicated to housing the homeless and rebuilding struggling communities. He looked me in the eye and offered me the position of managing director of the foundation, complete with a salary that would instantly change my life forever, alongside a clean settlement for all my debts and housing issues. I stood there in complete disbelief, tears welling up in my eyes, realized that the worst day of my life had just transformed into a miracle. I had given away my very last dollar, expecting nothing in return, only to realize that true generosity always finds its way back to you when you least expect it.